Hello, I'm Jarg, and welcome back to my Basic Beginner's Guide to Terraria. Last time, we actually went to the dungeon, and in this episode, I have three things I want to talk about. That being, the floating islands, potions, and the underground. Now, the first thing I want to do, which is going to seem a little strange, I want to go to my inventory. I want to take out stone blocks, and I want to take out my dirt. This will make sense later on. Now, technically, the Sky Islands, or Floating Islands, whatever you want to call them, was something I could have talked about a long time ago, seeing as I actually found one right above my dungeon, which doesn't usually happen. I've been holding off on talking about them until after the dungeon, because usually I find them by using the water bolt that you can find from inside the dungeon. Also, really quick, should technically go for the potion section, golden rabbits, or golden anything. Very, very valuable. You can keep it as a pet. Actually, notice I have, like, two other little bunnies right here. They aren't worth all that much, though. But golden critters are worth about 10 gold. They are very valuable, especially in the early game if you're looking for cash. But that's not right now. So, when looking for the floating islands, this is what I usually do. I haven't really shown off what the water bolt does, but if I can show this off real quickly, oh, if I have the magic, it will bounce. So if a floating island happens to be above us, we obviously have to give it some time. But a water bolt will bounce off a floating island and will come back down. If you pay attention, you might be able to hear it, assuming that there are any around. How many floating islands you have in your world will be determined by the size of your world. So a small world, I believe, only has 3, whereas a large world, I believe, has 7. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Finally, I got a freaking blood moon to show up. As I'm looking for a Sky Island of all things. Alright, before getting really interrupted, I got a lot out of this, nighttime blood moon. Good god. 3 bloody tears that can summon a blood moon whenever I want. Shark Tooth necklace, which increases armor penetration, so good for, I want to say it's good for any weapon set, it's just whether or not you want to have it equipped. I have the Bride's Veil, so now I can be, now the hero can be the most dapper hero, or heroine, in all the land. I'm assuming this only happens during a blood moon, but the witch doctor sold me a pygmy necklace, which increases my maximum number of minions, as well as I got that money trough I was talking about before, which again gives me access to my piggy bank. Combining that with the void bag, I now have my inventory plus 2 extra inventories full of stuff that I can actually hold stuff in. So good god. And let me be back after I take care of my inventory right now. Here we go! So somewhere right above me is a Sky Island, because all those water bolts just came falling back down. Yep, here they come. So, we have a couple of ways of getting up there. Slash also a couple of different ways of actually trying to find the Sky Islands. Such as using rope or blocks like dirt and stone. This is why I waited until I got the water bolt to actually show this off. But as we go up here, Ooh, shoot. You're gonna find some clouds, which is just a nice little detail about all these things trying to be hidden. On them, you can find either, like, say, a giant pool for fishing, or you can find houses like this that can contain items. So this one, for example, a lucky horseshoe. Negates fall damage. Very good item to have, as you never have to worry about falling too high. I have the sun. No idea what that is. Something that's just decorational. But yeah, all of this is just kind of its own little thing. This being the, I believe it's called, what, the Skyblock? No, the Skyware. Skyware chair, yeah. Sun plate blocks. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of this, but, I mean, that's just me. It's interesting to say the very least, but it's nothing I really care too much for. However, now that I found this Sky Island, I know I could have used the other one, but I wanted to find one first. I want to do something that is completely optional, and I'm gonna do this off camera, I'm just gonna, like, start it. I want to make a platform in the sky. So what I usually do... Chicken nugget. What I usually do is I get myself a bunch of dirt, once I find myself a sky island, and I dig out a pathway. I find the best way of doing it is just holding down the left mouse button and keep hitting the button that lets you put down... Oh my god. The grappling hook, brain not working. I find doing something like this with a minion almost set works best, as I can focus on laying down platform, and my minions can, well, do everything else, such as fight for my behalf. Now, is this needed? Absolutely not. Is this recommended? That's up to you, really. This is something that I like to do, and... I mean... It helps you find other sky islands other than doing the thing that I was just doing. It's nice just to have a large platform, just to be able to run across or whatever. I usually use this stuff for, like, growing trees and other such items, like pumpkins. And, well, to be honest, you don't even have to do that. Like, say you wanted to make a platform, but you're like, oh, I don't want to make it out of wood, make it out of platforms. Makes this entire thing out of the planter boxes that the Dryad sells you. It'll cost you a lot of money, considering you'll need a lot of platforms, but I mean, you can do that. And you just have an entire upper platform of just plants, more or less. Just plants for all your potion needs. Another thing you could do is minecart track. You can, if you want to go down, collect yourself enough iron or lead, and just make yourself minecart track, just going from one side of the world to the other, you can definitely do that. And I have done that. Not gonna lie, that's a lot easier to put down than all of this flooring, but again, it's something you can do. And I'm gonna take care of the rest of this later on in my own time. I don't need to show this off. I just wanted to show off just the general gist, as well as the fact that I do have that other sky island that I found all the way back in the beginning that I never explored. Alright, but, okay, that's the first part I wanted to talk about. The next thing I wanted to talk about was potions. Most importantly, being, well, what do you need for the herbs or herbs, depending on your pronunciation, to actually go... Oh, shoot, I forgot. Sky Islands. Gravity is lessened the higher up of the map you go. If you may notice, this would be considered space. And there we go. I just hit the top of the entire in-game world. But potions. For the most important thing when it comes to potions is going to be the items, and there are a couple of things that don't rely on, well, plants. But the plants are the main thing I want to talk about. Now, we've had the ability to grow plants pretty much from the very beginning. If we had just gotten clay, we could have made ourselves some clay pots and have grown plants from that way. Or once we have defeated one of the bosses, we got ourselves the Dryad. And using the Dryad, we were able to buy her planter boxes and use those. Now, there are a couple of different plants that we could have gathered throughout the time. And as a matter of fact, I have almost all of them in my... Actually, I think I do have all of them in my chest right up here. Yes. So, the plants all have different requirements for growth. So, I believe there are 3 stages. There is the initial stage where it's just like a sprout. The second stage, where it is grown but won't produce any seeds, and then the third stage, which is grown and will drop seeds. Now, all these plants have different ways of dropping seeds, such as, for example, day blooms will only drop you seeds during the day, moonglow will only drop you seeds at night, waterleaf is during the rain, fire blossoms is during a specific time of the day. I want to say it's an in-game afternoon, but I don't know the exact time. Now, Blinkroot is completely random as far as I can tell, so you just need to keep an eye on that. Deathweed will only blossom / give seeds during a blood moon, so having things like those blood tears is great if you really want to get yourself a bunch of Deathweed. And Shiverthorn, last but not least, only will produce seeds when it is snowing, which I believe is at the same time when it's raining. So I would say if you find Waterleaf is giving you seeds, chances are Shiverthorn will give you seeds as well. Now, I have not worried too much about potions for the most part, but that's also because I'm very familiar with the game. Now, if you are worried about it and you want to make yourself a potion setup, which I do not blame you, it's not a bad idea. I would not worry about where you put it. Like, there's no, like, oh no, I don't want to put it outside because it'll get hit by enemies. No. Put it anywhere you want because enemies will not affect it. I think the only thing that might affect it is a boss later on, but chances are you probably won't be fighting the boss at your house, so I wouldn't worry about that. But yeah, between the different ways of doing it, such as using clay to make pots, assuming I have clay. I do, but I don't have enough. We could use clay pots, but clay pots, I would say, are not the best, for the simple fact that clay pots, they take up space in the wall by being put down, compared to if we go to the Dryad. If we go to the Dryad, her planter boxes act kind of like platforms, so if I just buy a couple of these real quick. Fine, I'll do it this way. These are essentially platforms. You can just fall right through them. So you can even use these for like building an arena or something like that if you don't have the wood or whatever. The only cost is again money, but I mean it's about 1 silver per thing, so that could add up. But yeah, for potions, do whatever feels right for you. And just know what you need to make them. For example, there is something that we would probably really want potions for. So if I go back to my base real quick, I believe I have all the ingredients I need. Alright, so a very useful potion for what's coming up ahead are these obsidian skin potions, requiring bottled water, which is just sand turned into glass, glass turned into bottles, and being next to a body of water to get bottled water. Fire blossoms, which can be found in the bottommost layer of the entire world. Waterleaf, which are found in the desert, and obsidian, which is a combination of water and lava put together, will make you obsidian skin potions, which make you immune to lava for 6 minutes. These are items that are going to be very, very useful to us in the underground. Let me, again, just get rid of my inventory real quick, and I'll be right back. Alright, so if you happen to have an underground base, I highly recommend having a bed and setting a spawn point down here, because we're going to be down here for a bit, and this area could be a bit dangerous. It makes a little bit of sense, as this is, quote-unquote, hell. So, I've been down here a couple of times, although I don't know if I've really shown it off. There's a couple of things down here for us to look at. One thing I should have actually had out beforehand is we're going to want Shadow Key. The Shadow Key, because we'll find those Shadow Chests. And another big thing you're going to want is this, the Hellforge. It is essentially a furnace, but it's going to be needed for specific crafting as we go on. Now, as we go down here, we'll find different things. Enemies will drop different items, some weapons. Even some of the pots that we can find down here can give us obsidian skin potions. But I want to take one of that, become immune to lava for a few minutes, as I want to go down here to what could be considered the endgame material slash armor material for, let's call it pre-hard mode, which is essentially what it is, but we haven't talked about hard mode yet. This stuff is called Hellstone. Now, as you pointed out, it's a little bit hard to see right now because I'm in the middle of an entire pool of lava. But this stuff is actually generating half a block of lava every time a block is mined out, which makes this stuff dangerous. But I'm going to say right now, we're going to want a lot of this. And I apologize that it's hard to see my character right now. That's just something I can't really deal with. But this is why I'm saying you're going to want obsidian skin potions. We want a lot of Hellstone. But there are other ways of getting Hellstone if you are, say, having trouble... Maybe having trouble just getting the ingredients to make the potion. I'm gonna say right now, if you're having issues getting obsidian, I guess I can talk about, you're gonna want to try and find a way to easily make obsidian. Honestly, it's pretty easy. I would just try to find a big pool of water and just try to mine that down into a pit of lava. Because we're gonna need obsidian, not only for the obsidian skin potions, but also to convert all this Hellstone ore into Hellstone bars. Also, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure you need a Crimson or Corruption pickaxe to actually mine Hellstone. I want to say gold or platinum is not strong enough. Now, as we're going out and about, the biggest threats we're going to find as we're going down here are going to be the imps shooting fireballs at us, but I mean, the pickaxe is doing a great job of actually fending him off. The other one we're going to potentially have an issue with are the giant bone skeletons. Just because, well, they're because they're worms. Sorry, the giant bone worms, not the giant bone skeletons. The giant bone worms, because they are worms, they can dig through the world, so they're obviously going to be an issue with the whole being able to go anywhere and hit me from any angle. Now, that's 2 of the enemies down here, and there's at least 3 others that come to my mind. That being the Hellbats, which are just like bats, but they're on fire, and they're in hell, so I think that's kind of self-explanatory. They're nothing all that different, they're just more powerful bats. This guy, on the other hand, could be a bit of an issue, depending on what's going on. The demon is something to keep your eye out whenever you see them. There is a chance that every so often, one of them will be holding a doll. It is a guide voodoo doll, and if you see one of those, I'm going to tell you right now, be careful. If you have minions, maybe take them off because you want to be careful. That minion voodoo doll the demon carries looks like a stereotypical voodoo doll, and because it is the guide, if it falls in lava, the guide will die. Which, okay, that doesn't sound like the most awful thing in the entire world. I mean, he'll just come back. However, if the guide voodoo doll falls in lava, not only will the guide die, but assuming the guide was alive when it fell into the lava and the guide died, you will summon the ultimate boss of pre-hard mode Terraria. The boss that we will not be talking about today, and I don't even know if I'll be talking about it in the next episode. But the boss is known as the Wall of Flesh. I'll talk about him more when we actually fight him. I've been singing in 2 episodes. But you want to be careful. As I said, he is essentially the lock on the door that opens up the game to hard mode. I'm not talking expert mode, I'm not talking master mode. I'm talking hard mode. Right now, this entire world, even though I've been playing on a normal world, has been on easy mode. And when I tell you the game gets hard, I mean it gets hard. Either way, down here, Shadow Chest. I found a couple of items inside the Shadow Chest, and keep the Shadow Key. This is why I was saying before, you're gonna want the Shadow Key on your person. Now, as we're going out and about, again, say you're having issues, you just can't make yourself obsidian skin potions for whatever reason. you will find these, let's call them buildings, out and about in the underground. What I find to be the best way to get Hellstone, like say you're just missing like a couple of pieces of Hellstone, you really don't want to go all the way back up. Something like this I find to be the best way of getting Hellstone. You essentially just have all the lava go to the bottommost layers as you slowly walk your way up to get more Hellstone. It is not the fastest way, and you will have to actually open this wall up to get into more of this. But it is a sort of less dangerous way of getting this, if not a bit more time costly. Also, before I forget, this stuff is hot. Hellstone is hot. Like, it burns to the touch. So if you do not have anything like an obsidian skull or anything that is used alongside the obsidian skull, you will take burning damage by touching it, similar to how meteorite will give you the burning status when you touch it. And, okay, that was... Back to the enemies. This guy over here is the last enemy that I can think of that is found in the underground, at least for now. Lava slimes. Honestly, not all that threatening in normal mode. However, if you are playing in higher difficulties, beware. Lava slimes in expert and master mode have a 50% chance of dropping lava every time they are killed. So, if you happen to be in a house like this, oops, you could get lava just spawning in it because, well, lava slime. It also means that if you're going to make a platform underground, hint, hint, for the higher difficulties, you will probably want to break open your pathway, let's say, every other block. So, you would probably put down a platform of 3, and then open up that gap in the middle, put down another 3 platforms, break the one, put down another 2 platforms, break open the middle, rinse and repeat. And yeah, so far I've gotten myself a little less than 300 Hellstone. So let's go back up top real quick. Alright, as we are up and about inside our base, if you look to see Hellstone bars, you won't find it. Again, a normal furnace is unfortunately not good enough for our needs. We need, if I can do this, the Hellstone Forge, which is also material, so you're going to need it for something else later. You will need it for something else later on. Now, if we go to crafting. And I need to get the obsidian out. Oops. Okay, try this again. Hellstone ball, requiring 3 pieces of hellstone and 1 piece of obsidian. So all the time I get spent down there, I got 90. So we can make lava-proof bug net for handling hard bugs, as well as the molten almost set. 15, 20, and 10. So that is 45 to get that, an imp staff using 17 bars, and probably what I would start off with, the molten pickaxe. 100 pickaxe power compared to the 65 that I got from the nightmare pickaxe. You also have the volcano. I would say probably my next sword. Just if for anything alone, the damage it does. It's a slow swing, and doesn't have auto swing, but I mean I got a fail claw, so I can always just... alongside the fire buff that goes with that. But, I really want to make that imp staff, but for right now I want to make the molten almost set, because this is the best almost set you're going to find in terms of defense for right now. 8, 9, and 8. So, if it was 20, well, actually, hold up. 25 defense, a +7 to melee crit strike, a 7% increase to melee damage, and a 7% increase to melee speed, alongside a set bonus that gives you 10% extra melee damage. This volcano is now doing 49 with a 13% chance to crits. That's with the thing being with the nasty modifier, but still. This is a very... It is a good Alma set. Is it the best? That's going to depend upon you. If you're worried about defense, then yes. Because right now, with the B Alma I got on, I have 18. And that's with everything I got on. This is giving me an extra 2. And this one's giving me an extra 30. So I have an extra 5 defense just from having other equipment on. And if I take the Shadow Alma, I'm up to 24. But again, that's with all this. I'd be better off with the other one instead. But yeah, I'm going to be going back down, going to be gathering more material. There are more things that we can craft, depending if you have the resources. So the Flamerang, if you have the Enchanted Boomerang, you can get a Flaming Boomerang. Hellfire Arrows, which I believe... Yeah, you can get down below, so I wouldn't really worry about getting those. The Molten Fury, which is kind of like the Bee's Knees. It turns wooden arrows and lights them ablaze. A Molten Ham Axe, which is a combination of an axe and a hammer. So you get the best of both worlds. The Phoenix Blaster, if you happen to find the handgun in the dungeon, you can get yourself an upgrade to that one. And the M-Staff, the thing down there we're not going to worry about. So there's not too much to make with Hellstone. So honestly, probably just... I think it would only take me like 2 Obsidian Skin Potions just to get everything I need. But yeah. The last thing I was kind of hinting at before... And it's something I definitely recommend you doing. I hate how I can't do things when the game's paused like that. In between videos, just like how I'm going to make that sky platform, I'm going to be making a hell platform. Now, I use stone... I use dirt for the overworld, but hell for the underworld. And I would recommend doing this. I would highly recommend doing this. As a matter of fact, if you were doing a Master Mode or Expert Mode world, I would recommend adding in minecart track to this, because the boss fight is going to be interesting, to say the very least. As a matter of fact, in the higher difficulties, I've only done the fight with having a minecart track that I can just speed my way across. Also, this is what I was talking about before, if you're on the higher difficulties. So, like this, which, depending on how you want to do things, it will save you a lot of resources, but I'm not the biggest fan of it, but sometimes necessity outweighs the design. But yeah, I recommend a large platform, preferably as flat as you can get it. I mean, if you have to go up, if you want to go up and follow the terrain, you do you. A more flat terrain will be more... I feel like will be more beneficial to you in the long run. But if you are just, like, in a hurry, then there's nothing wrong with skimping out. But yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. I talked about the Sky Island, so I know I just find... I know there's at least one more. Also, here's a magma snail. This is the one of the things you can catch. Oh, right, fishing. That's probably something else I should talk about. Next episode. So yeah, I'm going to have a lot of work ahead of me. So until then, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Ooh, that's actually a new effect. And one last thing is the demons have a chance of dropping you a book that is essentially a magic weapon that is the attack that they use. Very useful for the boss fight, I will say that much. If you can get that weapon, I would highly recommend it for the boss fight if you're going for a mage, or if you're just going for any. If you are, say, going for a Gunners, I guess the Phoenix Blaster would be your best friend. And if you're going for melee, I guess that Molten Yo-Yo I got, the Cascade might be... Actually, no, I don't even think of that. Yeah, I guess the Cascade is the better one, but honestly, the Bees might be better. I don't know. You'll figure that one out. We won't be dealing with the boss for a little while. So, again, thank you for watching. Have yourself a fantastic day, a fantastic night, and I will see you next time. See you later.